Hey guys, what's up? Exodus Gaming here, bringing you another analysis for a new Final Fantasy game that was just announced. Many of you guys probably have seen this already, and most likely, if you're a fan, you already know about this game. The new Dissidia game that Square Enix is working on for arcades. And if for those of you who don't know what Dissidia is, pretty much it was like a fan servicey, a mashup fighting game between all the main characters and villains of the Final Fantasy franchise, from Final Fantasy 1 through 13. Here, on the other hand, they actually showed a character from Final Fantasy 14, which I'm very much excited for. But let's go step by step in terms of what we have going on here. This is just like a raw analysis, so I'm just gonna take a look at what I see as the trailer goes on. But here, clearly you see the background from the original Final Fantasy, Final Fantasy 1. And of course, the Hero of Light is here in this field. So this is the iconic opening from Final Fantasy 1, and this is actually a battleground in which you play against your opponents or fight against your opponents. So as I start up this video here, get a close-up on the graphics, and it is slightly improved. Well, slightly is a very low way of putting it, but it's a huge improvement compared to the PlayStation Portable iterations. So this time around, I mean, this is console quality right here, and the Warrior of Light never looked so detailed before. Has a higher polygon count, higher resolution. It looks good, plain and simple. But most importantly is this portion here. It's going to be 3-on-3 battles, it seems like, and what this kind of reminds me of, it's very similar to, like, the Dragon Ball Naruto fighting games, mainly like the Tenkaichi and the Ultimate Ninja Storm series. It wasn't really like a 3-on-3 type of thing. You kind of had a main character that you chose, and you had two other support characters that that could support you during the battle, either by blocking, protecting you, or healing you, or attacking the opponent in your stead. But this time around, it seems like this may be a party system. Maybe it's like the traditional 3, where you can choose 3 characters. And this kind of makes sense. This is kind of like, very like traditional Final Fantasy party here. I mean, Onion Knight's kind of like a DPS to me. Warrior of Light kind of looks like a tank, obviously. And Ishtola, most importantly, is a mage or white mage class from Final Fantasy XIV. And for many of you who haven't played Final Fantasy XIV, it's an MMORPG. So this character is from that series, and she is notably a mage slash, most notably a white mage. So, I was very happy to see her in there. I think her name is pronounced Ishtola, but either way, she's a Makote. She's a cat race from the world of Orzia from Final Fantasy XIV, and again, I'm very excited to actually have her in this game. Characters from Final Fantasy XIV in general, so maybe we'll see the other characters in there too, but this may be just a teaser. But as we start up here, we catch a glimpse of the gameplay. Very, very typical of your Final Fantasy type Dissidia game play footage. Pretty much, if we go back here, it's like a hack and slash 3D fighter. And here we actually catch sight of Ishtola in action, and she is a mage by trade. She is casting a Blizzaga spell clearly against Terra Branford, no less, another mage. So she's actually attacking lightning, if you could see from the top of her spell. So maybe you can actually play each character individually. I think this suggests that maybe these 3-on-3 battles is a multiplayer type game where you have a team of 3 human players versus another 3 human players, or maybe there's a way to control each character separately. But it seems like, oh, actually, wait. Looking back at it again, it kind of reminds me of those attacks from Ultimate Marvel or Marvel vs. Capcom. Like, you can knock the character away and then bring out another character in your party that you want to play against. So this is kind of very reminiscent of the gameplay mechanics presented in Ultimate Marvel or Marvel vs. Capcom, where you do have control over your 3 party members, and You could maybe knock away the main character in favor of fighting someone that's weaker or someone you're more familiar against fighting against, pretty much. So that kind of looks like that to me. Here, you kind of see Wire of Light fighting against Cloud, and clearly this is a defensive attack, so he's knocking him away. Whether or not that was a finishing attack or not is kind of interesting, but if you look in the back there, you could see Lightning fighting. So yeah, maybe this is a synonymous 3 versus 3 match. And take note of the physics here too. Look at the Buster Sword. It's flying out of place. So maybe physics does have a big role in this game as a fighting game, and that's very exciting. And there is evidence of that later on. But right now, I mean, it does seem like this is a simultaneous 3 versus 3 battle taking place. Yeah, see, like, it looks like all the other characters are being controlled individually. And that looks pretty cool. I mean, that could lead up to some really cool tag team matchups, or mix-ups, I should say, mix-ups. Pardon my competitive fighting game terminology. A little background, too. I'm really big into fighting games like Street Fighter and Tekken, so I'll be doing a lot of videos of those in the future. But back on topic. Yes, so speaking of the competitive space, I mean, since this game is being released in arcade, I have every reason to believe that maybe they might just have this as a competitive type game, maybe? Kind of, I don't want to say on the level of a Street Fighter or Tekken, but, you know, maybe it's a significant, if it gains like a significant following in terms of popularity and in terms of community, then yeah, maybe we could see this at EVO someday, I don't know. And I never really saw Dissidia as a competitive fighting game, but I mean, the potential is definitely there, but the gameplay is a little too chaotic in my opinion to warrant it being a competitive game, but it looks good. And like I said, back to the whole three-party or three-player person party here, you could probably you know, control each character individually. These are probably 3 different players. And yeah, it kind of follows the same like dynamic here. I mean, it looks like you got 2 DPS and a range DPS here. I don't really think that matters, I think. I mean, I'm thinking this from an MMO perspective, but I don't think that really matters. But maybe there are some characters that are more proficient in support as opposed to, you know, combat or dealing damage. But yeah, here you got some damage control here from Tara Branford, or I should say crowd control. And it looks like you got Lightning here doing her ultimate attack. So there's definitely a lot of, like, you know, a lot of chaotic battles to be had here, and man, it just looks really great. Like, I'm very excited to see more of this game in the coming days. I mean, I'm pretty sure we'll see more maybe at E3. I don't know if there's any other, like, you know, big gaming conventions or gaming or business, I should say, like business presentations, but game looks really good. Here is actually an example of like the environmental elements here. So perhaps you can most likely use the environment to your advantage. They did this in previous Final Fantasy Dissidia games too. You could utilize the environment to your advantage, and here again you see Warrior of Light attacking Lightning and sending her into this boulder here, therefore breaking it into pieces. That's other evidence of the physics engine, maybe. So maybe in the same way that Cloud's Buster Sword went flying, you'll probably see the same thing here with the other characters. But yeah, I do like the open battlefields here, and considering the amount of chaos that's going on in the game, like, you know, if you scroll back here, considering the amount of chaos that's happening in this game, I mean, you would have to have a large like battleground. And speaking of battlegrounds, I would really like to see more levels from, you know, other Final Fantasy stuff. And funny, I have my Distant World soundtrack playing in the background. You got Terra's theme here. Maybe we can revisit Narsh or Sabin's Castle. Maybe that could be like a battleground. Or maybe the Balam Garden from Final Fantasy VIII. There's a lot of stuff that they can do. Maybe we could return to Midgar during the first bombing mission. Maybe have that as like a battleground. I mean, there's so many possibilities here. I'm a big fan of Final Fantasy, and this is like the best gift you could give fans. But yeah, the game looks good so far. Again, it's being released on arcade first primarily. But with that said, I do hope that it does release on console at some point. I mean, there's no reason why they should not alienate that install base. There are a lot of PS4s out there. There are a lot of Xbox Ones out there. Just create this game and release it. But funny that I finish here. We have a clash between Cloud and Warrior of Light, and I'm assuming this may be part of the gameplay mechanic. Maybe there are clashes in the game where you have to maybe button mash, or you have to like enter some like combo or combination of buttons. But as you can see here, the the game doesn't really have like a Dissidia 3 or a Dissidia 2. This is a reimagining or a re-release rather of the franchise. So maybe they'll redo the story. They'll add more characters. Hopefully, that's one thing that that I kind of found disappointing of the previous Dissidia games: the lack of support characters. I mean, where's Zell from Final Fantasy VIII and Cypher from Final Fantasy 8? Well, he was from 8 as well, but Cypher I thought would have been a really nice matchup against Squall as a antagonist in the game. But yeah, where's Zell? Where's Renoa? Where's Vivi? Where's Steiner? They should add more characters or support characters, because those characters are very popular. Like Shadow, for example, from Final Fantasy VI, Edge the ninja from Final Fantasy IV, or Rydia from Final Fantasy IV. Just add more characters, and I hope that with the expanded memory and the expanded graphics of an arcade game, that they would be able to increase the roster size. And again, definitely a lot of possibilities to be had here. But just as a side note, Cloud looks a little bit different here with his hairstyle. I mean, I don't know if that's worth noting or anything, but again, this shows much of the detail that they're bringing to this game, and this should have been done like years ago. They should have released this on PS3, in my opinion, and then that way they could have had more characters in it. But this is like all in engine, by the way. This is not pre-rendered. This is actual gameplay, and I know the quality of the video isn't really like up to par compared to what you can see from other sites or directly from Square Enix, but this is example of in-game graphics. And with that, this is the new Dissidia Final Fantasy. Again, I hope you like this quick analysis. If there's anything I missed in this video, let me know in the comments below. Let's start a discussion about it. Let's talk about the possibilities this franchise can bring to us, especially since it is in a arcade format and has every potential to become a console port. So let me know in the comments below. Remember to rate, subscribe, and yeah, stay tuned to more videos. This is your boy, Exodus Gaming. Peace out.